I'm also a stage manager. Really. Thanks for having me. I've recently come up from Brighton. I was 20 years in Brighton trying to support a family as a musician. So after the divorce, I decided to follow the bright lights and the big money. So for the last 3 years I've been a poet in Wigan. That's going so well that I'm here tonight talking to you for free. The lesson there obviously is get a degree, you can have a career. So I understand that you are very qualified people here, academics and postgraduates, and it's very impressive. I'm not, I didn't get my degree. I did half a term in one university, I did 2 years in another university, but because it was last century we had this little scheme called a grant. So I was able to leave debt free. It's rather wonderful. Yeah, you're allowed to make really terrible financial decisions at the taxpayer's expense. Don't get to do that anymore unless you're Liz Truss, of course. So Dr. John there told me that if I explain to you people that I have nothing to talk about, no research, I've got no thesis, so I can only talk about myself, which frankly, after 30 years of trying to have a career as an artist, as a narcissist, well dreamed. If I explain to you that I don't have anything to talk about, I can get away with it if I say that this is my autoethnography. I don't know what it means. But you seem to like it. I thought it sounded to me like you're climbing into a wardrobe with a silk scarf and an orange stuffed in your mouth, but you? Like I say, I know nothing about academia. Yeah, talk about myself. As I say, I'm a musician. Interested in the carol said about asymmetric scrotums. I made an album several years ago called The Dark Side of Me Bollocks. Produced it on vinyl. One side was very much heavier than the other. So yeah, I've been fingered a lot. It's not something that I enjoy. It's not something that I've ever asked for. It just seems to happen to me quite a bit. I don't know what it is about me, but I'm not against it in principle. I mean, if you like that sort of thing, if you're a fella or a lady who enjoys that, good for you. Get it right up yet, but it's just not for me. The reason I've been if you're let's say you're a married man, right, and you enjoy getting pegged on a Tuesday night by a woman who's not your wife, it's not for me to comment on. That's entirely between your Prince William and your Kate. I'm of a certain age, so I get fingered quite a bit, because it appears that whenever you enter your 50s, doctors are just foaming over themselves to have a good rummage, They get any excuse, honestly. It's like prostate cancer for a GP is like the equivalent of the lost treasure of the Sierra Madre. I got an email a couple of weeks ago saying, would you like to come in for a free NHS over 50s health check? Oh, that's fucking online grooming. So the other bunch of people who enjoyed, they were well into me, so to speak, were your customs officers in the late 80s and 90s, because they're more astute if you might realise that my accent is not from Brighton. I'm actually from a small place in Northern Ireland called Derry, the jewel of the Northwest. And when I grew up there was an awful lot of violence, Some people called it a war, some people said it was terrorism. And we all decided that we would call it the Troubles. What are all those explosions and dead bodies in the street? We've got a touch of the Troubles. Oh, you're looking rough, mate. Have you got a hangover? No, I've got the Troubles. Do you need to see a doctor? Fucking my age? No. Fucking any excuse. Yeah, as I say, you know, I actually didn't go to uni, but I came up at a time when arriving in England just wearing a pair of jeans was a sure sign that you were a terrorist. So, you know, you land at the airport and you get, what's in the postal tube? And you'd be all cocky, you'd be like, it's a rocket launcher. You know, alright son, touch your toes. But you know, we're a stubborn breed and we don't take that lying down, you know, we take it straddled over a bench. But you double down, you know, you think, oh, I'll show them, you know, so the next time it's like, what mate, what's in the postal tube? You know, it's part of the Iraqi super gun, what do you think? Oh, son, touch your toes. And eventually, you know, to ease your passage, so to speak, you decide to comply. So it's like, oh, son, what's in the postage tube? You go, it's posters, officer. I go, oh, fair enough. Oh, do you know what? Fuck it, just in case. There was a wee room off the side, you know, and on the door it said CWSD, which was for cheeky wee shouts from Derry. Or honestly, CWSD/L, because Derry has another name, which is Londonderry. And, you know, it's got two names. It's got more than two names, but those are probably the two that you would understand most or know more about. So I can forgive your ignorance because, yeah, well, I've forgiven you for 800 years of oppression. See me outside. So, yeah. So anyway, the people who, you know, who think they know a little bit about this, they would say, and you know, not a little bit of knowledge is a dangerous thing. It's very much like a little bit of Semtex. But they would say, you know, people who say Derry, they're Catholic, and they would politics would be nationalist and Republican. People who say Londonderry, well, they're Protestants, and their politics would be unionist. But it's not always that way, you know. It's my family was mixed. We came from a mixed household, so we had Protestant, Catholic, we had nationalist, we had unionist, you know. We were quite ambivalent about the whole thing, you know. So people say, oh, there's a crowd over there and they hate that crowd over there. We were really ambivalent about the whole thing, but that crowd and that crowd, they fucking hated us. But we were just a normal family, you know. Just really a normal family, like your royal family. Very, very normal. Except we weren't German. We didn't have loads of castles and tons of money. And at the last count, none of us are paedophiles and we don't fuck our cousins. But other than that, really, very similar. I have an older sibling. They're the heir. I am the spare. Very much like your Prince Andrew. Hopefully that's where the similarity ends. My father was a builder. He was in construction, but in Derry at the time everything was being deconstructed, so there wasn't much work around. Things were being pulled down by IRA bombs and your English tanks. So there's no work and there was no building trade, so the only work he could get was working for the for your armed forces. That meant that he was what was euphemistically called a legitimate target. And at one point his name turned up on an IRA hit list. So we had to start taking precautions. You know, he would drive a different route to work every day. We would have to lock the house up, all the windows and doors, even when we were inside it, you know. And every morning I had to check the car for car bombs. That's fucking hilarious. Because the heir, you know, the heir was doing very well, getting a degree and a career, right? So spare boy here had to, you know, go out, wind, rain and shine. Actually, more like snow, rain and mizzle, which is the only rain we get, the only weather we get in Ireland. Your category is wet. So I'm on my hands and knees, I'm checking under the car, you're looking for boxes, different things that shouldn't be there. You put the key in the door, and you open the door just a crack so you can see if there's any wires. And then you cross your fingers, you close your eyes, and you turn on the ignition and hope you don't get blown to smithereens, you know. So I did this every day for 6 years as a school child, you know, and as a result of that, I have PTSD. And as a consequence of that PTSD, I can't sweat. At least I couldn't at that time. But I'm a devil for a dough ball. Anyway, the Good Friday Agreement came and gave us peace, which was wonderful. We've just celebrated the 25th anniversary of the Good Friday Agreement. That means that there's an entire generation of adult people who have grown up in Northern Ireland and not had to experience that sort of violence firsthand. I mean, they're up to their fucking necks in student debt, you know, so swings and roundabouts. But the Good Friday Agreement was signed at the end of the last century, and who would have thought at that point that of everyone who signed it, you know, the English, the Irish, the Americans, terrorists, murderers, politicians, killers, you know, who would have thought at that time, 25 years ago, that it would be your Tony Blair who had the biggest body count? I mean, you did tell us that he was a thoroughly decent chap. But unfortunately, things seem to be sliding slightly back in Northern Ireland. And the Good Friday Agreement is it's in jeopardy, really. A lot of that's down to your Brexit. So thanks for that, Bright Club. I hope you're loving your blue passports. And the other part of it's down to the DUP. They will not sit in the power-sharing assembly with Sinn Féin. Now, if you don't know, Sinn Féin are the political wing of the IRA. And the DUP are the political wing of creationism. Now the DUP, you see, they are ultra-unionists, and they are ultra-British. They're much more British than you, Bright Club. You better fucking believe this. You will never be as British as the DUP. The DUP look at the British as, they look at the United Kingdom as this sort of small family. They look at it as this small elite family of British nations, right? Of which they are the junior member, you know, very much so. But they are sent from God to look after that little part of the world. They look to England as their sort of, I don't know, their motherland, I suppose, this sort of beatific, angelic mother figure, you know. They're a lot more ginger than they would like to admit, you know. And regardless of what Diane Abbott says, you know, that's not laughing matter. You know, those people are suffering enough. No hierarchy of hate. Certainly no hierarchy of hate in the DUP. They despise everybody with equal vitriol. And they're decent enough people, but they walk 500 miles to receive an insult, you know. That's But they look at this amazing, this wonderful mother, and they think, oh, we want to be part of that. And they never fucking shut up. They're always whinging and bitching and whining about their place. They want to be in the family, but they want to fucking complain about it. And then eventually, they'll be given some money by the likes of Theresa May. And they're given some money, and they love their money. They love the free money, you know. They love taking that. And they hate Ireland. They look at the rest of the island. The father that spawned them from their loins, and they disavow them. Nasty, wee, angry, ginger, very much like your Prince Harry. I have to wrap this up. So, Good Friday Agreement brought us peace. That was really good. 9/11 made your English customs officers look in a completely different direction. So that means that I can pretty much breeze through an airport now. It's wonderful. But I do get the odd pang, you know. I do get the odd pang for the bad old days, you know. So I've started doing some stretches in hopes of being able to touch my toes again. And I've grown this big old beard to give off some Bin Laden vibes, you know, so, like fingers crossed, but be warned because that is an advanced technique.